Hello, and we're going to go ahead and record a video in order to show you how to use functions. We're going to be writing two functions, and these functions are going to be representative of some volumes. We're going to write a function that will return the volume of a cylinder, and one other function is going to return the volume of a prism rectangle. So first of all, need to do the prototype of the function after we say include stdio.h. Okay, both functions are going to return something, and more likely it's going to be a float because you might be getting some dimension with decimal points. So we're going to say here cylinder volume, and cylinder, as we all know, is going to require height, and it's going to be float. And it's going to also require the radius, which is also float. I don't have to name in the prototype the name of the variable. For the prism, we're going to go ahead and say prism volume. It's going to require the length, that's float, the width is float, and also the height is float. So this is my prototype, and this is my main function. And I'm going to go ahead and just get it ready when I'm writing the both functions. I'm going to go ahead and write the function right there here after the main function. Say float cylinder volume float. Let's call it L. Actually height, and we're gonna actually say float in radius. All right, you don't put a semicolon here because you're about to go inside the function. Okay, so I'm sending to the cylinder volume two variables, the height and the float. Those going to be read inside the main function. So what I'm going to be returning, look here, I could return the calculation right there. I could say here 3.14, okay, multiplied by the height, multiplied by the radius, which is raised to the second power multiplied by itself. It's as simple as this. Of course, I could have declared a variable, and I called it volume, and I assigned this calculation to the variable, then return that variable. It doesn't matter because the function is going to return a value. That's what matters to the calling of the function to return a value. And because everything's going to die anyway inside the main, in the little function once we finish calling it. Okay, so this is my first function. The second function, as you will notice, here we go. Let me go ahead and get a little bit of space here. We're going to call it float prism volume, and we're going to go ahead and float L, float W, float H, and the same thing. Let me go ahead and change my flavor here. Let's say here I'm going to say float volume, and then I'm going to say here, of course, volume is going to be L multiplied by W multiplied by H, and return volume. Instead of doing it this way, I could have done it this way: return L multiplied by W multiplied by H. It's either one will do. Of course, I cannot have more than one return in a function, so I'm going to go ahead and make this a comment. So in the main function, we're going to say, of course, we're going to go ahead and say cylinder volume, okay, and that's all going to be float. Everything is going to be float. Float cylinder volume, prism volume, okay. Then we have a float cylinder height, cylinder radius. Then we're going to say here float prism height, prism width, prism height width. We have length. So I should have started with length, no problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and read the data for the cylinder. We're going to go ahead and say, all right, please enter the the height and the radius for the cylinder. Okay, and that is going to be scanf, percentage F, comma, ampersand, cylinder height. Okay, I'm sorry, yeah, cylinder height and cylinder radius. There we go. Then we could actually read printf, enter the three dimension for the prism. Okay, and we're going to read here we go. We're going to say scanf, percentage F, comma. We're going to say here, let's do the height first, or the length first, length. Don't forget about the ampersand. That's going to cause me a problem when I run the program. Then we're going to read the PW width, then ampersand B, and we have length. I mean, we have width and we have height. All right, that actually does it. Let's go ahead and calculate the volume through the calling of the function. Let's call both functions. Okay, so in order for me to call the first function, here we go, I'm going to say cylinder volume. Okay, that is going to be equal to the name of the function, which is cylinder VOL. Here we go. And I'm going to pass that CY height as the first variable, and I'm going to pass the C radius. Here we go. Then I'm going to call the prism volume. Okay, here we go. And that is going to be, sorry, the prism volume with the, let's say here, yeah, the whole word volume. Okay, I should have done this also similar to this here, and it should be here capital as well. Okay, and prism volume is going to be the name of the function, prism, this one here. I could put actually that if in front of it to remind me this is a function. And we're going to go ahead and say B length, comma, BW width, comma, and P height, comma. And I could go ahead and print both of them. Print F, the volume of the cylinder, percentage 2.F. Here we go. It's going to be cylinder with a capital V now since I changed it. Then we're going to go ahead and say printf the volume of the prism. I'm going to align them. That's why I'm pushing this percentage 2.5. And here we go. And we're going to say here prism, this one here. All right, let's see if we didn't make lots of mistake here. This is my function right here. If you want to take a snapshot of it. Okay, this is basically, I could go ahead and put it all the way up and drag all the way down. Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and make it a little smaller. So we're going to run this hopefully without any mistakes. Very good, no mistake. Enter the height and the radius for the cylinder. I'm going to go ahead and say 7, 9, and the 3 prism is going to be 10. Let's say 5, and the height is 10. And this is actually the volume of the cylinder and the volume of the prism. Take your time. I'm going to go ahead and slowly scroll through the page so you'll be able to see it. Okay, here we go. Slowly, you'll be able to see it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue with other program very quickly.